What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more mags, and we're back for the final tune on the Living With Ourselves album 2024, One for All and All for None, which feels like a very mags title. I did want to mention I have a demo version by Mags of a track that would later show up on the Aha album True North, so we'll go through that for the next Furuholmen Friday, so there is more after this. But yes, the final track on Living With Ourselves, a really great album. In particular, I have to say, the You Won and Then Some track really has stuck in my head. That's a fantastic tune sonically, and although you can, I think rightly, criticize or at least question the use of some of the auto-tune on the album, it does seem like on some level Mags was experimenting. Again, on the Christmas song, it felt perfect in the sense that it seemed to be part of the irony or the cheekiness of the tune. On a couple of the others, it maybe felt like an unnecessary embellishment that perhaps takes away from the human quality of his vocal delivery, but either way, I'm looking forward to hearing how the track, or how this track ends the album, and a couple folks did mention in advance that along with You Won and Then Some, this is another properly good tune, so looking forward to it, as is Luca. Let's give it a listen. This is Magne F. The track is One for All and All for None. Man, those phrases, they get sort of mixed up and jumbled in my head. But yes, one more time, Magne F. and the tune is One for All and All for None, the final track on his 2024 album, Living With Ourselves. is another brilliant tune. Sonically fantastic. I do believe we had some auto-tune in there again. Maybe not as distracting or as anomalous sounding as in a couple of the other tunes, but I think noticeable. Nevertheless, the sonics were great. I love the melodic scope of some of the sections, but also a couple of those really wicked, hard-edged, more intense or even dissonant sections. Those were great. And as I said, by the end, there was this almost like organ or like celestial keyboard chord that was playing that was tension filled. It wasn't sonorous and soothing, it was more tension filled. And yeah, I mean, some of the lyrics feel like they fit with that hard edge or that tension, because he seemed to be talking about, he's not going to look back anymore, he's just going to look ahead, which suggests that there were some troubled waters or problems behind him, which he's just not going to try to unpack or worry about anymore. It sounds like maybe people were dishonest to him, and it sounds like maybe he was putting everything into the all, but the all were not reciprocating back to him. It was to none. I don't quite know what to make about the one final trip, and I think one of the lines, one strange trip, but one final trip around the sun, I mean, that is a year, and obviously, you can measure your own years on Earth as the amount of times that you've orbited the sun here on Earth. But at the same time, I don't quite know why it should be one more. I suppose if you were talking more figuratively about, one final hurrah with some enterprise, some group, or some process, you might go into it knowing like, okay, one more time around we'll do this, but because I feel like it's asymmetrical, because I feel like it's not bi-directional, like this will be it once it's done. So it feels like there is a finality to it in advance, if you will. Like there's a teleological understanding that after this, I'm only going to be looking forward. I'm not going to be, revolving or part of this disproportionate connection or involvement. So, yeah, again, with any of the AHA members, I wonder if there's any autobiographical references here, or this is more about Mag's life autobiographically, but not necessarily AHA, or if it is just drawing on themes about human imperfection and complicated emotions that come with long-term associations and involvement in traditions or processes that are often sung about in more simplified or positive ways. So in a way it feels perfectly Mags, even if I'm not quite sure what's going on. But yeah, I like there were some strings in there, including like a sort of backing like tension string. There were a couple, I think, sharper cello hits. There definitely was, as I said, like a harpsichord type keyboard line that had a real rich like electric quality to it, and then those tension filled chords near the end, which gave it a sense of uncomfortability as the tune then suddenly evaporated and receded into the horizon. So a very dynamic and cool end to the album sonically. Lyrically, I will look forward to hearing people's comments on this one. Shout out to Luca, who is busy but who also was interested. Let me know what you think of this track, the album as a whole, and as I said, this is not the last Furuholmen Friday, so watch this space. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you then. Peace.